deals, and good advertising coverage. Call our sales and marketing department on 440-8171 or via WhatsApp on 455-718. You can also send an email at mtvmarketinggd@gmail.com. Terms and conditions apply.
CaribJet, the most experienced travel agency company in Grenada, serving our clients and businesses for over 40 years. IATA accredited, we issue tickets on 280 airlines, representatives for Condor, the German airlines, and main agents for Virgin, KLM and Air France. We're specialists to the Middle East. Walk in to our ticket office at Maurice Bishop Highway, call 439-4444, WhatsApp 534-7755 or visit caribjet.com.
Hello and welcome to the MTV Evening News for Friday, the 14th of April. And the news headlines come to you in association with Courts Grenada Limited.
Happiness is when cooking isn't a chore. Bring happiness to your home. Get up to 30% off on selected items. Get it now, pay later. Whatever your happiness is, we can help. Court, bringing value home. Offer ends April 30th, 2023. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. Coming up in the news this evening, an autopsy is still pending for Kenton Phillip, who was serving a life sentence for capital murder before his own death. Opposition leader says a highly anticipated new National Party convention is not a priority at the moment. Female educator and creative writer adds yet another accolade to her name. And in sport, Affy Fletcher leads Grenada to the final of the Windward's Women's T20 Challenge. We'll have details to those and other stories coming up for you. A look to at the public forecast information. It's right after the break. Stay with us.
The first segment of the MTV Evening News comes to you compliment Nexa Credit Union. With you wherever your road leads.
But when you need someone to help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. I'll be right next to you, no, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands, we got everything we need. Cause you can look to me, yes, I can. Whenever you're in need, yes, you can. Just call on me and I'll be on my way. I'll be by your side, never to divide, to light that shines our way. Wherever you road leads, we'll make your dreams come true. Next side, next side, next side, right next to you.
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
Good evening, I'm Tony Julian with the details. 2 weeks ago, MTV News reported on the sudden death of a prisoner at the Richmond Hill Prison. Information confirmed by the acting prison commissioner. In an attempt to provide an update on this ongoing matter, we sought more details on the scheduled autopsy to determine the cause of death. But according to the Royal Grenada Police Force, an autopsy is still pending for Kenton Phillip. Phillip, who was serving a life sentence for capital murder at the Richmond Hill Prison, died at the General Hospital just about 2 weeks ago. Phillip, along with 3 other men, was jointly charged with intentionally causing the death of Amelia Roberts at her home in the early hours of the 8th of October 2002 in the course of a robbery. Roberts was in her early 50s at the time of her death. Philip was represented for the crime by attorney-at-law Derek Sylvester, who called for a full investigation into his death while in prison. MTV News will continue to follow this story. All for now, good news for the Royal Grenada Police Force Fire Department, as there's been a reduction in the number of fires for the year thus far. That's when compared to the same period in 2022. That's according to Sergeant of Police Adrian Panchu, as we hear in a report from Nikita Hostin.
According to the Royal Grenada Police Force Fire Department, there has been a drop in fires in 2023 compared to 2022. Sergeant Adrian Panchu gave statistics on the comparison.
As I stated before, in terms of fires, for the year so far, we have seen a total of 84 fires being reported to the fire department. The comparison made was for the first quarter of 2022 compared to 2023. And in that comparison, we actually have a decrease in fires in terms of 13 fires from the first quarter of last year to this year. And I think that is as a result, as I stated earlier, of the whole fact that the dry season, we had a rainfall in January and February. However, with the sudden onset of the dry season, we have seen an increase in a number of these fires being reported. 40 fires being reported in the month of March. And normally we see that figure increasing in the month of April and June.
Sergeant Panchu says the fire department is advocating for a no-burn policy at this time.
We are advocating a no-burn policy at this point in time. We are asking persons to refrain from burning. And the main reason for this is the increased risk of fires getting out of control. A lot of times persons would set a fire, and one of the biggest challenge for us is that these persons would leave these fires unattended. The minute time you leave a fire unattended, the wind can pick up and it can take a piece of burning debris, throw it in the nearby bushes, and we have a fire started. So we want persons to understand that, and as much as possible refrain from burning. In other instances, you don't need to burn. Sometimes you just clean your yard, it's a couple leaves, a couple pieces of paper or so forth, but you figure you need to burn. And really and truly, you don't need to burn. You can always put it in a garbage bag, and the garbage disposal companies would actually remove it because you're already paying for it.
Panchu says it is the law to inform your neighbor before starting a fire.
So when persons call into us, we have to go out and deal with those reports. We would speak to persons of the do's and don'ts. The law speaks to informing neighbors. And if you go up online and you look at the laws of Grenada, you can go to section 146 and 147 of the Criminal Code. And that is chapter 72A, the Criminal Code being chapter 72A. If you go there and you look at it, it speaks to the whole aspect of informing neighbors. And some persons might say, well, yes, I inform my neighbor. But there's no agreement. And the whole aspect of it, and when we interpret laws, we look at what injustice that persons were actually seeing that the laws were made to actually alleviate. Because laws are not just made. The legislative arm of the government doesn't just get up and decide, let us make a law.
Grenada's opposition leader says a highly anticipated opposition new National Party convention is not a priority at the moment, as more emphasis will be placed on restructuring the party after its defeat at the polls during the 23rd of June 2022 general elections, and admits that the structure on the ground needs significant improvement. We hear more from Troy Gill.
During a recent press engagement, opposition leader and leader of the new National Party, Dr. Keith Mitchell, responded to the question regarding the highly anticipated party's convention and the election of a new executive, including a new leader, and if the activity will be held this year. However, according to Mitchell, it is not an immediate priority. Following his announcement at his swearing-in as leader of His Majesty's opposition that he will be stepping down as leader of the party, speculation has been rife regarding who will take over the reins. However, according to Mitchell, the party is not yet ready, especially following its defeat at the polls.
The thing that I think people have to watch is that there's that perception that the only role you can play is to be in Parliament or be in a position as Prime Minister or Minister. I don't believe that. So the plan is to prepare the new national party for that transition into new leadership. But that, of course, is dependent on the delegates, on the people.
There is a lot of groundwork to be done, Mitchell says, before they consider hosting a convention this year.
But I'm convinced that we lost the election, we lost the ground. The party work failed us. The government never had a problem. The government was given high accolades for its performance. But the structures on the ground, we were weak. If that is the case, as I believe, it would not make sense rushing into a convention without putting the structures of the party in place. And therefore, the priority right now, which is what the party is working on, is putting that structure in place.
There is also a possibility that there may be a new slate of candidates for the next general election, Mitchell says.
And not just a question of political leadership, because a number of members of a party who have been there for a long time and given human service. And some of them don't wish to necessarily continue. That also should be given consideration. And I think that is where we are as far as that is concerned. So the emphasis on it, whether it's political leader change or whether it's chairmanship of the party, whether it's other sector activities. For example, we may find that a number of candidates that participated in the last election may not necessarily be the candidates going forward in the next election. But we're not talking that now.
For MTV News, Troy Gill.
Agricultural officials, including extension assistants and farmers, participated in a workshop on optimal techniques for fertilizer use, feed preparation, and other strategic cost-cutting measures as part of a cost-effective risk management training. We have more in this report.
Given the significant increase in prices of fertilizer and feed, the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives collaborated with the University of the West Indies and the Food and Agricultural Organization in offering a training showing alternative ways to feed animals and fertilize crops in a more cost-effective way. The training in cost-effective risk management options for agriculture and livelihoods was held at the National Stadium and a practical aspect at the Mirabo Propagation Station. These sessions showcased techniques for optimal fertilizer application, compost building and livestock feeding to extension assistants and crop and livestock farmers. According to Ministry of Agriculture Representative Gregory Del Sol, the significance of this training is knowing the alternative approaches to the methods currently being used.
UE provided us with these three facilitators, Dr. Udoxi leading the team. That would give us a lot of cost-effective measures that we could do in terms of compost building, proper fertilizer applications, because a lot of times in this country, farmers tend to waste fertilizer. We put more fertilizer than we need to actually apply to the crops. Number two, he also talked about soil testing. We need to do that a bit more, so we know exactly what the soil needs, not just by guesswork.
Dr. Gaius Eudoxy, Senior Lecturer at Soil Science at the University of the West Indies, together with Dr. Martin Hughes, an animal production specialist and nutritionist, showcased the characteristic of the resources and how best to manage them efficiently.
So I think we were able to provide some very low-hanging fruits, including, for instance, understanding how a simple thing like where you place your fertilizer and how much of that fertilizer you use is so critical to your ability to use it efficiently. And similarly, on the side of the feeds, I think we were able to show that when you are creative and you think about the alternative feed substrates that are available, you can, particularly for ruminant animals, produce a more reasonable cost substitute for what we already have on the market.
These strategic measures are aimed at improving the efficiency of both farmers and extension assistants. Brenda Phillip, Extension Assistant, and Kenneth Charles, Farmer, reported that the training that they received was a source of empowerment to them.
The South St. George Police Station was on the receiving end this week, as well-known businessman in the South, Captain Harris, made a small gesture to the lawmen. According to Harris, he was only responding to a request by the officers in having a comfortable outside space for them and visitors to the station.
I want to say I was very happy when ASP Charles called me and said, Captain Harris, we would like for you to donate some tables and chairs for South St. George Police Station. And within 2 days, we have put things in place so that they could have it. And I'm so happy today to turn it over to them.
Parliamentary Representative Andy Williams, in receiving that, says that he's pleased with the partnership established between Captain Harris and the people of the South, as he continues to contribute to the development of the constituency.
And this bench will really serve, as a relaxing area for when people come to visit their loved ones and so at the station, and also for the police officers to come outside and have a little relaxing time, lunch, name it, And I think it's a good initiative on the behalf of Captain Harris, a man who is always looking to help in whatever way he can. And I want to applaud him for this effort. And I know that we have a good partner going forward in the South.
That's the first segment of the news. We'll be back with more after the break.
The first segment of the MTV Evening News came to you in association with Nexa Credit Union. With you wherever your road leads.
But when you need someone to help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. I'll be right next to you, no, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands, we got everything we need. 'Cause you can look to me, yes, I can. Whenever you're in need, yes, you can. Just call on me and I'll be on my way.
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
With just $2, you can gift yourself with a chance to win the Lotto jackpot. Now, imagine winning the National Lotteries Authority jackpot of $64,000. Why pass upon this winning opportunity? Lotto, play and win a lot of money.
When a loved one passes on, we all need the comfort, support, and guidance of a trusted friend. You can rely on LaCour Brothers Funeral Home. We provide a personalized professional service that exceeds all expectations. Our dedicated staff responds to your every need with the greatest detail, ensuring affordability with a variety of options. Our upgraded state-of-the-art facilities, spacious air-conditioned chapel with live internet streaming, a modern, environmentally safe crematorium, the only of its kind on island, private viewing spaces, large on-site repast center, a modern transportation fleet. Join our burial society today and make personalized arrangements for that final moment. as you prepare to enter your loved one into eternal rest. Visit or call LaCroix Brothers Funeral Home and select a package that brings added comfort to the entire family. LaCroix Brothers Funeral Home and Burial Society, continuing a tradition of excellence.
A home should always be safe for you and your children. So remember to have your electrician check your wiring every 5 years and keep cords and wires out of the reach of children.
We even added circuit interrupters in the bathroom and kitchen and any place where water and electricity are close.
Remember, children, never touch electrical cords and wires and never put objects into sockets.
Grenlink, energizing our Grenada.
Co-op Bank introduces e-payments, our new e-banking feature that allows you to make payments online hassle-free.
Log in securely with biometric technology. Make recurring payments easier with automated scheduling.
Save time by paying your bills online. Transfer money to accounts at other local and regional banks. Send wire transfers on the go to anywhere in the world. Or send money to friends or family using Buddy Payment. E-payments, the swift, simple, and secure way of transferring money. Welcome
home. Welcome back. Grenadian female educator and creative writer Sherry Hamlet now has another accolade added to her name as she recently published her very first poetry book dubbed Musings in Serendipity. Hamlet, who goes by the name The Wordy Phoenix, spoke with our news team about her experience and her book writing journey. We hear more on this from Danella Holston.
This is my first publication. It's a collection of poetry called Musings in Serendipity. Some people may know me as a performance poet under the stage name The Wordy Phoenix. So this is a collection of poetry by The Wordy Phoenix. It highlights themes of identity, womanhood, nationalism, creativity. I put it together because I've been performing.
Sherry Hamlet, educator, creative, and most recently, author, speaking about her very first publication of poems. Speaking to our news team, Hamlet, who goes by the stage name The Wordy Phoenix, explained why she decided to publish.
I've been involved in the arts in Grenada for some time. And when I performed, there was quite an interest in having the work in print. There were a few people who said, I loved engaging with this, and I'd love to be able to read it again and have an even more personal experience with your poetry. And that really got me thinking about immortalizing it in print. And so here we find.
Hamlet stated that this was a passion project of hers that she spent some time working on while pursuing her master's in creative writing. She shared where the books can be found.
Right now, I am taking personal orders, so you can reach me through my Facebook page. It's at The Wordy Phoenix. You can find me on all social media platforms via that handle. And there are a very limited quantity available at Art Fabrique on Yonge Street in St. George's.
She said the support she has received and is still receiving is tremendous, and she is thrilled to now be part of the Grenada Published Authors, Inc. Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostan.
Ashanti Footprints is continuing efforts to blaze trails through its cultural exchange initiative. On Wednesday, a drum jam session and open mic was held in collaboration with Youth with Rhythm and Timbales Guy as they showcased their skills and talents. Our news team spoke with Judy Antwine of Ashanti Footprints about the experience.
Youths with Rhythm and Tim Bales Guy from the Paria, Trinidad, at one of their performances here in Grenada as part of the Cultural Exchange Initiative facilitated by Ashanti Footprints, a locally based organization. Speaking to our news team about the visiting group was Judy Twine, Director of Ashanti Footprints.
We currently have the Youths with Rhythm and Timberley's Guy, a drumming group from Trinidad, and rhythm section. So we've been doing workshops with St. Andrews, RC School. The students at the drum corps at T. Marshall Community College were excited to have the drummers come in to support them as they prepare for their sports fun day today. Been going around just sharing music with locals and visitors, playing at the vendors market in Granads in front of the Esplanade Mall. It's been a great experience.
According to Antoine, this collaboration came through one of their directors.
Another of our directors is Godfrey Luke, and he has a relationship with artists from Faizabad, Trinidad, and other places in Trinidad. So he has been able to facilitate their coming here as they have a personal relationship. So it comes out of a friendship even. And many of the performers who have come here have relatives who live in Grenada. So it's a really close kind of familial relationship as well as cultural relationship.
She said the visiting groups received support from their government to be able to travel to Grenada, and it is their hope that Ashanti Footprints and other organizations will be able to travel to Trinidad and Tobago and Africa to share their talents as well. In addition to the visits by Youths with Rhythm and Tim Bales Guy, Faizabad Theatre Company also visited Grenada as part of this cultural exchange initiative. Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostan.
Orange economy, or creative industry as it's also referred to, requires a boost. This despite the work being done by the current administration. And creatives from different sectors are chiming in, noting that although today there appears to be more opportunities available, more still needs to be done to assist creatives. Our news team spoke with recently published author Sherry Hamlet, who spoke about the creative economy's trajectory.
I think we are at an exciting time in history. Right now we are coining it the creative industry on a whole. Before we weren't calling it that. We didn't have a name by which we would refer to it. Creatives were kind of looked at as people who were trying a thing on the side, but now it is not just being internationally recognized, but something that's really getting me excited is that we're seeing a lot more literary festivals in the region. It is my extraordinary hope that we'll see a re-emergence of the Tanti-Tech.
Hamlet also made mention of the Anti-Tech Spicewood Festival, saying that she hopes that it comes back on full scale.
It is my extraordinary hope that we'll see a re-emergence of the Tanti-Tech Literary Festival here in Grenada, something that was started a long time ago, something that I was fortunate to be a part of in its inception. And as I see emphasis placed on literary festivals within the Caribbean region, I hope that that is something that Grenada will also be a part of and will also grasp hold of the opportunity to bolster our national creatives.
Judy Twine, director of Ashanti Footprints, another cultural organization, also shared some brief remarks.
Well, the creative industry definitely needs a boost. There are many people who are committed artists who are investing their time in creating arts, and they need to be compensated for what they do. A lot of what most people in the cultural arts do, they do it for free. And there's not much compensation. And there are times when people have a tendency to not respect the culture, not respect cultural practitioners, because we take a lot of things for granted. And then still people say that, you know, culture dying out and the children these days is only social media.
Twine said, too, that there is a keen and avid interest shown by young people in the sector, and that this is something that should be noted and commended. You're tuned in to the evening edition of news for Friday, the 14th of April. Now, for this week's edition of Total Local, we feature Serena with her latest single, I'm Ready, with DJ Taro from Japan and music producer Flamingo Cartel from Poland.
So my song, I'm Ready, was featured on a Spotify playlist. And for those of you who don't know Spotify, it's the largest music streaming platform in the world with over 400 million users. And Spotify has these things called official Spotify playlists. And to get onto one of those playlists is extremely hard. And my song, I'm Ready, that was a collaboration with myself and also a DJ in Poland, Flamingo Cartel, and also DJ Taro from Japan. So I was very shocked at the fact that it was even featured. Spotify picked it up, and my actual monthly listeners on Spotify grew from 5 people to over 5,000 right now, and it's growing. I think it's like 6,000 persons now, and it's continuing to grow. So in the space of 2 weeks, literally. So it's a major milestone for me, and I'm just very happy and humble about it. Okay, so I'm on a platform called Fiverr. I offer services on Fiverr. And I went on the platform in 2020, but then I started being active in 2021. And all I did was I had a first project that I bid for, and then after that I started getting referrals. So I don't bid no more. Like, people just find me every single day. Like, I literally turn down offers because sometimes it is too much. But it's through Fiverr that I have been working and being able to meet all these people and having all these international collaborations. I have a lot of projects working on. There's a lot of songs that I have written. I work with different producers and DJs around the world, actually. I've done work with DJs from Italy, Belgium, the US, Turkey, Israel, you name it. Like, it's been a lot of places. What's next for me? I'm going to continue writing. Writing on a whole, songwriting on a whole is a beautiful process for me. I was always a songwriter from a child growing up. But it's since I started coming back out from like 2017, that's when I released my first song, and then I've been very active ever since.
And that's the second segment of news for this Friday evening. Regional highlights are coming up.
The NLA is giving you more chances to multiply your Playway winnings by adding Multi-X to your regular Playway bets to win up to 5 times more. Imagine winning as much as $1,200 instead of $240 with a $10 Playway bet by simply adding Multi-X. Place your Playway bets from $1 to $10 or in increments on your favorite Playway symbols or numbers. Then add the Multi-X option at the same value to win 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more, or free plays. With Multi-X, you must bet the same amount wagered on your regular Playway bets for your winnings to be multiplied. Grenadians, value your dreams and win your way as much as 5 times more. With Multi-X added to Playway and watch your money grow. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
It's the 4th edition of Hubbard's Live Free for 1 Year promotion. Cuatro Punto Cero. It's unbelievably amazing. You can win free fuel, free drinks, cash prizes, free property and vehicular insurance, free cable, TV and internet, free electricity, free coke, free water, free cooking gas, free paint supplies, free passes to Sunshine Promotion events for 2023, free groceries, all for 1 whole year. And every winner receives a lunch package. Be sure to fill out the entry forms and enter it into the marked entry boxes at all Hubbard's departments and at participating outlets. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2023. Draws will be held every 2 weeks. Terms and conditions apply.
At Bailey's Funeral Home, we understand the pain and grief you experience when you suffer the loss of a loved one. For years, we have helped thousands of families get through that difficult time by providing professional funeral services to meet their unique needs. Whether your choice is cremation or burial, call us or come into our new facility on the Carenage and meet with our arrangers in a spacious and comfortable environment. Choose from a wide variety of quality coffins and caskets at prices from as low as $1,900. At Bailey's Funeral Home, we believe that no one should feel overwhelmed or anxious about funeral expenses. So when it's time to plan a funeral, join a burial society, or make pre-arrangements when service and costs matter, call Bailey's Funeral Home at 440-2558 or visit us at baileysfuneralhome.org. Bailey's Funeral Home, still providing the perfect tribute any family can afford.
Happiness is when cooking isn't a chore. Bring happiness to your home. Get up to 30% off on selected items. Get it now, pay later. Whatever your happiness is, we can help. Court, bringing value home. Offer ends April 30th, 2023. Conditions apply.
The third segment of MTV News is brought to you in association with Arise Credit Union. Your financial freedom, your future.
Transform your life with Arise's suite of loan products. Own your own vehicle, education, land, or home, and anchor your roots. Start living the life you deserve by applying for an Own Your Own loan at reduced interest rates. Simplify your life and consolidate all your debts by applying for a Simplify loan and open doors to new beginnings and explore more opportunities to shape your future. Call or send us a WhatsApp on 423-4987 or email us at loans@arisecu.com today to continue your journey towards financial freedom. Terms and conditions apply. Arise Credit Union. Your financial freedom. Your future.
Welcome back. Here now is Clifton James with this evening's Regional Roundup.
Good evening with tonight's MTV Regional Roundup. I am Clifton James. Over in Guyana, following a widely circulated TikTok video in which she was heard making assassination threats against President Ifran Ali, a woman has been charged with 2 offences and appeared before a magistrate on Thursday. More in this HGP TV report.
59-year-old Zelina Ali, also known as Kim Ali, a housewife of Section A, Block Y, Golden Grove, East Bank, Demerara, appeared before Senior Magistrate Sunis Scarce at the Diamond Golden Grove Magistrates Court, where 2 charges were read to her. Ali was charged with threatening language contrary to Section 141A of the Summary Jurisdictions Offences Act, Chapter 802, committed on the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, an attempt to excite hostility or ill will contrary to Section 2.3 of the Racial Hostility Act, Chapter 2301, committed on Reynard Sobers. Ali pleaded guilty to the charge for attempt to excite hostility or ill will and was fined $75,000. However, she denied threatening to kill the president and was granted bail in the sum of $25,000. She was instructed to make her next court appearance on May 18, 2023. Late last month, executive member of the Working People's Alliance, Takuma Ogunse, was released on $100,000 bail on a charge for attempting to excite racial hostility during a public rally in Buxton, East Coast, Demerara. Tiana Ko reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Now in St. Lucia, during a press conference on Thursday, the United Workers' Party, UWP, called for the resignation of the island's Minister for National Security for what the party claims are failed measures implemented by the minister in response to the crime situation. The UWP's public relations officer, Leonard Spider Montoute, says despite the government's best efforts in dealing with the crime situation on the island, what is being done needs to be fixed. Montoute referenced a bloody Independence weekend where 4 people lost their lives due to violence and the recent incidents in Vieux Fort where gang warfare has claimed innocent lives. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, who is also the Minister for National Security, visited Vieux Fort on Monday with a delegation comprised of the Police Commissioner, Attorney General and MP for Vieux Fort North to meet with residents to offer some degree of comfort to them. Photo ops such as going to Vieux Fort, walking around the streets of Vieux Fort will not help. It will not change anything. In his best efforts, the Prime Minister should realise by now, just as Dr. Anthony, a member of his party, says, that the measures taken are not working. They are not paying dividends, and so a different approach should be taken, Montoute said. Meanwhile, 2 Trinidad and Tobago nationals are among 3 who have pled guilty to arms trafficking in the United States. According to a statement from the United States Embassy today, U.S. Attorney Roger B. Hanberg announced that Tevin O'Brien Oliver, 30 from Homestead, Jamil Kia Phillip, 30 from Trinidad and Tobago, and Edward Solomon King III, 31 from Tampa, have pleaded guilty to federal charges. Oliver and Phillip are both nationals of Trinidad. They pleaded to conspiracy to smuggle goods from the United States, and King pleaded guilty to disposing of a firearm to an alien who had been admitted to the United States under a non-immigrant visa. The statement noted that Oliver and Phillip each face a maximum penalty of 5 years in federal prison. It added that King faces a maximum penalty of 15 years in federal prison. The defendants also agreed to forfeit various firearms, ammunition and related items which facilitated the offences. According to the plea agreements, Oliver, Phillip and King were part of a ring that unlawfully exported firearms components, including upper and lower receivers and gun parts kits, and related items from Florida to Trinidad and Tobago between 2019 and 2022. The firearms, which included pistols and long rifles and related equipment, were concealed within boxing and flight equipment, speakers and other household items to avoid detection by law enforcement and customs authorities. King helped Phillip and Oliver acquire and transfer firearms in the Tampa area. That was your look around the region. I am Clifton James.
This is the MTV Evening News Friday. We'll be back with you after the break.
The third segment of MTV News was brought to you in association with Ariza Credit Union. Your financial freedom, your future.
Transform your life with Ariza's suite of loan products. Own your own vehicle, education, land, or home, and anchor your roots. Start living the life you deserve by applying for an Own Your Own loan at reduced interest rates. Simplify your life and consolidate all your debts by applying for a Simplify loan and open doors to new beginnings and explore more opportunities to shape your future. Call or send us a WhatsApp on 423-4987 or email us at loans@arizacu.com today to continue your journey towards financial freedom. Terms and conditions apply. Ariza Credit Union. Your financial freedom, your future.
You're watching the MTV Evening News. Sporting highlights are next.
The NLA is giving you more chances to multiply your Playway winnings by adding multi-X to your regular Playway bets to win up to 5 times more. Imagine winning as much as $1,200 instead of $240 with a $10 Playway bet by simply adding multi-X. Place your Playway bets from $1 to $10 or in increments on your favorite Playway symbols or numbers. Then add the multi-X option at the same value to win 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more, or free plays. With multi-X, you must bet the same amount wagered on your regular Playway bets for your winnings to be multiplied. Grenadians, value your dreams and win your way as much as 5 times more with multi-X added to Playway and watch your money grow. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
Boyo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming. Karim, what you doing?
Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Happiness is when cooking isn't a chore. Bring happiness to your home. Get up to 30% off on selected items. Get it now, pay later. Whatever your happiness is, we can help. Court, bringing value home. Offer ends April 30th, 2023. Conditions apply.
It's the 4th edition of Hubbard's Live Free for 1 year promotion. Cuatro Punto Cero. It's unbelievably amazing. You can win free fuel, free drinks, cash prizes, free property and vehicular insurance, free cable, TV and internet, free electricity, free coke, free water, free cooking gas, free paint supplies, free passes to Sunshine promotion events for 2023, free groceries, all for 1 whole year. And every winner receives a lunch package. Be sure to fill out the entry forms and enter it into the marked entry boxes at all Hubbard's departments and at participating outlets. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2023. Draws will be held every 2 weeks. Terms and conditions apply.
Co-op Bank introduces e-payments, our new e-banking feature that allows you to make payments online hassle-free.
Log in securely with biometric technology. Make recurring payments easier with automated scheduling.
Save time by paying your bills online. Transfer money to accounts at other local and regional banks. Send wire transfers on the go to anywhere in the world. Or send money to friends or family using buddy payment. E-payments, the swift, simple, and secure way of transferring money.
Welcome home. It's all about the glam with stylish new frames from Quartz Optical. Shop today for up to 50% off and pay nothing for 30 days. Book now at www.quartzoptical.com. Get the look you want at the price you need. Plus, at Quartz Optical, our eye exams are always free. So what are you waiting for? Come down and get glam. With up to 50% off selected frames. Quartz Optical. Value you can see.
Afi Fletcher leads Grenada to the finals of Windward's Women's T20 Challenge. That highlight and more coming up in our sporting segment.
The MTV Evening Sports is brought to you in association with Quartz, bringing value home.
It's all about the glam with stylish new frames from Quartz Optical. Shop today for up to 50% off and pay nothing for 30 days. Book now at www.quartzoptical.com. Get the look you want at the price you need. Plus, at Courts Optical, our eye exams are always free. So what are you waiting for? Come down and get glam with up to 50% off selected frames. Courts Optical, value you can't see.
A special evening to you now, sporting fans, says Donella Houston with your highlights.
Good evening, sporting fans. The Winlots Inc. WICB Under-19 tournament will be played in St. Lucia from April 16th to 21st, 2023. The tournament will see the return of most players from last year, but has the inclusion of some promising players, including Windward Islands Under-15 captain Theo Edward. The tournament will be used to select the Windward's Under-19 team to play in the Cricket West Indies tournament being hosted in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in July. WICB President Dwayne Gill said, and I quote, "We are happy that Winlot Inc. Super 6 has once again seen it fit to continue supporting youth cricket in the Windward Islands. There have been huge benefits of Winlot's sponsorship over the years, with several of our players graduating into the Windward's Volcanoes first-class team. There is no doubt that we have some of the best emerging talents in the region. With another Youth Cup scheduled for early 2024, this year's tournament is an important one, with players competing for places in the Windward Under-19 team to participate in the CWI Rising Stars Under-19 tournament. We look forward to continuing to build our relationship with Winlot Inc." End of quote. Afi Fletcher led Grenada to the final of Windward's Women's T20 Challenge, and Zeta James continued her good run-off form for St. Lucia. Grenada women, led by Afi Fletcher, upset the fancied St. Vincent and the Grenadines women by 45 runs in the Windward's Women's T20 Challenge at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground on Thursday, April 13th. Batting first, Grenada rattled up 175 for 3 in 20 overs as Afi Fletcher set the DSCG ablaze with a delightfully paced century, 114 with 16 fours and 2 sixes, while facing just 60 balls. Her first 50 came from 31 deliveries, while the next 50 took just 23 balls. Fletcher received good support from Rachel Francis, who made 16, and Anisha Thomas, who contributed 23. When St. Vincent and the Grenadines replied, they were restricted to 130 for 8, with skipper Janella Glasgow top scoring with 43 from 42 balls. Cordell Jack chipped in with 21 from 25. For Grenada, Karen and Noel, Aria Fortune and Fletcher captured 2 wickets each. On Thursday, coaching staff of various national football teams were being trained in CPR techniques and the use of life-saving automated external defibrillator machines by the Dominic A. Murray 21 Memorial Foundation at the Grenada Football Association's Secretariat. One of the coaches who participated in the CPR workshop shared her experience.
It was very educational. It is something that you can use not only in football, you can use it anywhere in life, at home. Just saving somebody's life is very important. If I should get the chance to call to save somebody's life, I feel I could do it. It is very, very important, especially me being a mother of 2 footballers. I'm the equipment manager for the national team, the manager for the under-15 team of St. John's, the medical person on St. John's senior team. It's very important.
The following are the results of the game played on Thursday, 13th April at the Tanti Netball Facility in the Classic Lighting Caribbean National Netball Tournament. In Game 1 in B Division, Police Sports Club led the first quarter 5-4. At the end of the second quarter, the Jet Setters team went ahead 9-6, and at the end of the third quarter, they maintained the lead 14-9. By the final whistle, the score was 19-10 in favor of the Jet Setters Sports Club. In Game 2 in the male division, the Jet Setters male team led the first quarter 18-6 against Sprang's QPR. At the end of the halftime break, they maintained the lead 31-6, and in the third quarter, they further increased on the score 45-6. At the end of the final quarter, they won convincingly with a score of 56-8. Only 2 games will be played on Saturday, April 15th. Both games will be played at the Tantine Netball facility. Game 1 would feature Sprang's QPR versus SGU Blue Dynamites in the B Division at 5:15 p.m., while in the second game, Top Strikers comes against Sprang's QPR in the Male Division at 6:30 p.m. And that's it for this evening's sports. I am Donella Hostin.
Thank you, Donella, for the latest sporting highlights there. And viewers, when we return, we'll have the public forecast information for you and a recap of the major stories.
The MTV Evening Sports was brought to you in association with Quartz, bringing value home.
MTV Weather Report comes to you in association with Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Boyo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming. Karim, what you doing?
Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Good Friday evening, viewers, with Friday night and the weekend's weather forecast and meteorologist Wayne Williams. Sunny conditions continue throughout most of the Eastern Caribbean today, and even though we did have some gusty winds, they weren't as strong as they were the previous couple of days. Winds are slackening, will continue to slacken a bit over the next few days. An area of cloudiness over the some of the Central Caribbean islands, with mostly upper level clouds, brought some cooling there. One or two very brief patches of shower of rain did occur also. The haze has weakened a bit in the Far Eastern Atlantic as it creeps closer towards the islands, so we're looking at possibility of some slight haze in the next maybe 4-5 days. Right now over the Eastern Caribbean, we can see mostly the upper level clouds here over the Central Islands. One or two very small patches of low level cloud moisture in them moving towards the southern Caribbean islands, so there is a possibility that we could get some rain tomorrow or tonight, as a matter of fact. The forecast for Friday night, generally fair conditions are expected to prevail or to dominate, but there is about a 30 to 40% chance that we could get some early isolated showers. Winds would be easterly between 8 and 18 miles per hour, minimum temperature of 24. The moon, it's down now, it's going to rise at 2:29, that's after midnight, 2:29 tomorrow morning, and set 2:21 tomorrow afternoon. Mostly sunny skies on Saturday, easterly winds 10 to 22 miles per hour, moderate seas, 4 to 6 foot waves, sunrise 5:55, sunset 6:19, max of 32, will feel like 34. On Sunday, fewer clouds, winds still will be a bit gusty between 10 and 22 miles per hour, moderate seas, 4 to 6 foot waves, sunrise a little earlier, 5:54, sunset 6:19, temperature will be around the same, 32, it will feel around 34. From Monday onwards, mostly fair conditions would prevail through to the weekend. The haze, we can look for that to return from around Wednesday. Temperatures around 31, 32. That will be consistent throughout the week, with nighttime minimum around 24. That is it for me for Friday night and for this week, folks. Have yourself a great night, a safe and an enjoyable weekend, and join me again on Monday.
MTV Weather Report was brought to you in association with Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
And now to end the news, a recap of the headlines. An autopsy is still pending for Kenton Phillip, who was serving a life sentence for capital murder before his own death. Opposition leader says highly anticipated new National Party convention is not a priority at the moment. Female educator and creative writer has added another accolade to her name. And in sport, Afi Fletcher has led Grenada to the final of Windward's Women's T20 Challenge. We've had details to those and other stories, a look to at the public forecast information right here on MTV. And so now on behalf of the news and production departments, I'm Tony Julian. We all thank you for watching and wish you a safe and wonderful weekend.
At Bailey's Funeral Home, we understand the pain and grief you experience when you suffer the loss of a loved one. For years, we have helped thousands of families get through that difficult time by providing professional funeral services to meet their unique needs. Whether your choice is cremation or burial, call us or come into our new facility on the Carenage and meet with our arrangers in a spacious and comfortable environment. Choose from a wide variety of quality coffins and caskets at prices from as low as $1,900. At Bailey's Funeral Home, we believe that no one should feel overwhelmed or anxious about funeral expenses. So when it's time to plan a funeral, join a burial society, or make pre-arrangements when service and costs matter, call Bailey's Funeral Home at 440-2558 or visit us at baileysfuneralhome.org. Bailey's Funeral Home, still providing the perfect tribute any family can afford.
Renee Estelle Norvet Pilgrim of Grenville St. Andrew, former employee of the Grenada Cooperative Bank, died on March 9, 2023, at the age of 29, left to mourn her parents Selma and Dennis Pilgrim, siblings Risha, Monique, Kendra, and Bert, close friend Kofi Blackburn, aunts Frances, Hermione and Claudia Rubin, Nellie, Christy, Rena, and Jenny, uncles Jefferson Rubin, Dexter, and Daniel, niece and nephews Brianna, Vashon, and Bertwan, many cousins including Janil, Sheena, Celine, Enoch, Janae, Kathy, Curl, Carrie, Rhonda, Rimonda, the Batiste family of Birchgrove, the Rubin family of St. James, and others in Grenada and abroad too numerous to mention. Godparents John Joseph and Catherine Harford, friends Shamika Williams, Renatha, Kendall, Anne Ogilvie and family, and Lydia Bowen, Josephine Maguire and family, Dr. Kerry Ann Renault, Dwight Maguire, Hazel Ann Robinson and family of Sataz, Christine Thomas, the management and staff of the Grenada Cooperative Bank, the priest and parishioners of the St. Andrew's Anglican Community, Reverend Roland Mark, doctors and nurses of the Female Medical Ward at the General Hospital, Rainbow City Toastmasters Club, and Toastmasters Clubs in Grenada and Carriacou, the graduating class of 2011 at the St. Andrew's Anglican Secondary School, other teachers, other relatives, friends, acquaintances, and mourners too numerous to mention. The funeral of the late Renee Estelle Norvet Pilgrim of Grenville St. Andrew will take place on Monday 17th April at 1 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the St. Andrew the Apostle RC Church according to Anglican rites, and interment will be at the Grand Bras Cemetery. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home.
Jonathan Richards of Edward Street, Grove, St. John, passed away on Tuesday the 21st of March at the age of 28. Left to mourn are his parents Wendy Richards in Grenada and Clive Romaine in the US. Adoptive parents Karen Richards and Anthony Robertson. Close companion Petal Hosford in the UK. Sisters Antonia, Rosaria and Brittany Richards. Brothers O'Shane, Romeo, Rommel, Bradley Richards and Garth Thomas. Nephew Secron Richards. Godparents Denise in the US and Samantha. Grandmother Claire Romaine. Aunts Shirley Ann in the US and Jenny, Sally Ann in the UK and Lynthia Phillip, Claudine and Carla Romaine in the US. Uncles Sal Richards and Joe Romaine in the US. Cousins Cody, Troy, Zakim, Swan, Wilma, Ann, Wilbert, Sky, and many other relatives. Cleona Smith and family, Madonna Joseph and family, June Thomas and family, the Romaine family of Victoria, Miss Agatha Clark and family, the Wilson family from Carriacou, friends Lyrene, other relatives and friends too numerous to mention. The funeral for the late Jonathan Richards of Edward Street, Grove, St. John, will be on Tuesday the 18th of April at 1:30. The funeral service will be at the St. Peter's Roman Catholic Church, Grove, St. John. Interment will be at the Douglaston Cemetery. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home.
Nathaniel Fitzroy Graves of Montmorut St. George died on Monday, April 10, 2023, at the age of 75, left to mourn his brothers David Graves and Paul Graves, sister Pamela Graves, brother-in-law Fred Graves, sister-in-law Margaret Graves, aunt Lynette Lohoy, uncle Errol Graves, nephews Patrick, Anthony and Richard Graves, David Graves Jr. and Paul Graves Jr., nieces Ingrid Blackwell, Maria Graves, Amanda Johansson, and Renee Strazzari, grandnephews Nathan, Michael, Ethan, Marlon and Aidan Graves, David Graves Jr., Rai Strazzari, and Brandon Monroe, grandnieces Sydney, Isabella, Ebony, Delilah, and Serena Graves, Victoria Blackwell, Olivia Kasevsky, Willa Strazzari, and Darson Lesbia Graves. Other relatives and friends including Dennis and Anne Graves, Paulette Harris, Leanna and Larissa Tilbury, and Devon and Rachel Duncan. The funeral of the late Nathaniel Fitzroy Graves of Montmorut St. George will take place on Tuesday, April 18th at 2 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the Montmorut Anglican Church, and interment will be at the Montmorut Cemetery. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home.
Abigail Mary Sandy, née Mitchell, of the Villa St. George's, died on Monday the 20th of March at the age of 84. She was the mother of Ian Sandy, Dr. Betty Ann Sandy Pivot, Fiona Michelle Sandy, grandmother of Tristan Pivot, Aidan Pivot, Gabrielle Sandy, and Abriella Sandy, mother-in-law of Brian Pivot and Dr. Nadia Francis Sandy, sister of Winston Macaulay, sister-in-law of Rita Macaulay, aunt of Gary Macaulay, George Macaulay, Mark Macaulay, and Randy Macaulay, all residing in Canada. Aunt-in-law of Colin Sandy, cousin of Oliver Mitchell and family, Marilyn Joseph and family, Ferren Lowe and family, the Pascal family residing in Canada and in Barbados. Other relatives and friends, including Grace Ronan, the Cox family of Belmont, the Pivot and Francis families of St. Paul's, Brenda Peters, Brenda Fletcher, Histelina Seeley, Margaret Spencer, Phyllis Gomes, Eunice Sandy David, and the Sandy family of Happy Hill. Her caretakers Jane Phillip, Wendy Thomas, and the staff of Connection Care at Home Agency, the Anglican Community of St. George, and Dr. Emma Harry Thompson. The funeral service for the late Abigail Sandy of the Villa St. George's will take place on Wednesday the 19th of April at 12 noon. The funeral service will be at the St. George's Anglican Church, Church Street, St. George's. Interment will be at the St. George's Center Cemetery. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home.
Darren Tyrrell Jude Kurt Edgehill, also known as D Block, of Grand Mall St. George, who resided in Wallisburg and Walpole Island, Ontario, Canada, transitioned on Sunday 3rd April 2022 at the age of 33. He was the son of Tessa and Brian Gittins and Dexter Sylvester, grandson of Edith Phillip, godson of Primrose George and John Edwards, husband of Alishani Longboat Edgehill, son-in-law of Dexter Blackbird and Rhonda Longboat, father of Davion, Janaya, Caton and Jamedi, brother of Tyrese, Jalen and Anaya Gittins, Peter, Darren and Amara Sylvester, Dylan Paul and Phil Henderson, uncle of Valencia Gittins, nephew of Sebastian Bunton and Berna Edgehill, Crispin and Cheryl Edgehill, Deborah Patrick Edgehill, Martin Gittins, Wade Phillip, Beverly and Colin Castell, Myrna and Bernard Joseph, Eric Andrew, Nathalie Richardson, Vivian J.R., and Kester Sylvester. Many other relatives and friends in Canada, the United States, Trinidad, and Grenada. The Gittins, Nicholas, Charles, Edgehill, Pascal, Douglas, Griffith, Goddard, Sylvester, Modeste, Clark, Ato, Williams, Blackbird, Andrew, Toussaint, Nicholas, and Oliver families, and the pastor and members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Canada. The celebration of the life of the late Darren Tyrrell Jude Kurt Edgehill, also known as D Block, of Grand Mall St. George, who resided in Wallisburg and Walpole Island, Ontario, Canada, will take place on Thursday, April 20th at 5 p.m. Service will be held at the Grand Mall Seventh-day Adventist Church. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Dane Bartholomew Hayes, also known as Ashton and Tallboy, of Caliste St. George, a former employee of the Grand Anse Food Fair and the St. George's University School of Medicine, passed away on Saturday 25th March 2023 at the age of 60. Left to mourn are his sisters Glenda, Marcel and Marcia in Grenada, Denise and Jacinta in the USA, brother Chiron in the USA, son John Hayes in the US, many nephews and nieces including Larry Roberts, Brensley Thompson, Dr. Sean Charles, Audie and Jerry Hayes, Diane, Cindy and Daniel John, sister and brother-in-law Joy Thompson and Rob Williams in the USA. Other relatives and friends including the Hayes family of Pedmotar, the Dubisette family of Caliste and Grand Anse, the Bell family of Woburn, the Christopher family of Concord, members of the Caliste Berean Bible Church, the staff of the Grand Anse Food Fair, the doctors and nurses of the male surgical ward at the General Hospital, the boys by Anicetta's shop, and friends and neighbors of Caliste and surrounding areas. The funeral of the late Dane Bartholomew Hayes, also known as Ashton and Tallboy, of Caliste St. George, will take place on Thursday, April 20th at 1 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the Grand Anse Baptist Church, Morris Bishop Highway, according to Berean rites, followed by private interment. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Edwards Chase, also known as Robinson Redhead, Zip and Barber, of Grenvilleville, who resided at Beausejour St. George, passed away on Sunday 19th March 2023 at the age of 78. He was the husband of Nestor McQueen Chase, father of Marvelyn James, Michael, David, Peter and Suzanne Charles, Rokim, Ian, Indra, Fiona, Terina, Emond, Shamal and Raquel McQueen, brother of Alistair Chase, Joycelyn, Dennis, Frankie and Fitzroy Augustine, grandfather of 32 including Marvin James, Jaquan Frank, Phoebe Charles, Delon Charles, Shakira Maitland, Jonathan and Tyrone McQueen, great-grandfather of Jaden James and Omari Joseph, uncle of 28, including Linton Chase, Errol Johnson, Elisha Mitchell, Georgie Redhead, and Asa Chase, father-in-law of Arnott James, Stacey Charles, Pauline Redhead, Melissa McQueen, and Miranda Gill. Many cousins, other relatives, and close friends, including Romeo and Twine, the Chase, Charles, Redhead, Johnson, Mitchell, Hilaire, and McQueen families of Happy Hill, Beausejour, and Concord, the pastor and members of the Beausejour's Seventh-day Adventist Church, and friends and neighbors of Beausejour and surrounding areas. The funeral of the late Edwards Chase, also known as Robinson Redhead, Zip, and Barber, of Grenvilleville, who resided at Beausejour St. George, will take place on Thursday, April 20th at 1 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the Beausejour Seventh-day Adventist Church, and interment will be at the Top Fence Cemetery, Happy Hill. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Willa Lessie of Molyneux St. George died on Wednesday, April 12, 2023, at the age of 84. The funeral arrangements for the late Willa Lessie of Molyneux St. George will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Mary Maguire, also known as Elsa of New Hampshire St. George, passed away on Saturday, April 8, 2023, at the age of 85. The funeral arrangements for the late Mary Maguire, also known as Elsa of New Hampshire St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Althea Muller, also known as Moy of Clergy St. John, passed away on Tuesday, 11th April 2023, at the age of 72. The funeral arrangements for the late Althea Muller, also known as Moy of Clergy St. John, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home.
Andre Dexter Johnson, also known as Swan Boy of Mary Ann St. George, passed away on Sunday the 9th of April at the age of 56. The funeral arrangements for the late Andre Dexter Johnson, also known as Swan Boy of Mary Ann St. George, will be given on a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Clinton Cosmos Alexander of Parade and Laborie St. George, who resided in the United States of America, died on Sunday the 9th of April in the United States at the age of 88. Funeral arrangements for the late Clinton Cosmos Alexander will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Talik Wilfana Laborde, also known as Wendy and Shortstuff of Trinidad, who resided in Montoux St. George, died on Tuesday the 11th of April at the age of 33. We'll have funeral arrangements for the late Talik Wilfana Laborde of Trinidad, who resided in Montoux St. George, in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home.
Abraham Rasher, also known as Satan of Grove St. John, passed away on Friday, 7th April 2023, at the age of 71. The funeral arrangements for the late Abraham Rasher, also known as Satan of Grove St. John, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Jadine Emmons Bartholomew of Happy Hill, who resided at Montparnasse St. George, owner of J&J Printers, passed away on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023, at the age of 36. The funeral arrangements for the late Jadine Emmons Bartholomew of Happy Hill, who resided at Montparnasse St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Samuel Everett Holder of Marigot St. John passed away on Friday, 24th March 2023, at the age of 94. The funeral arrangements for the late Samuel Everett Holder of Marigot St. John will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Eric George Williams of Woburn, who resided at River Road Housing Scheme, passed away on Saturday 1st April 2023 at the age of 84. The funeral arrangements for the late Eric George Williams of Woburn, who resided at River Road Housing Scheme St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Madge Carmen Narayan, also known as Clary of Industry St. Mark, who resided at Montu St. George, passed away on Monday 27th March 2023 at the age of 54. The funeral arrangements for the late Madge Carmen Narayan, also known as Clary of Industry St. Mark, who resided at Montu St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. David Augustine Charles, also known as Cooks and Elliot, of Mamacan St. Andrew, passed away on Thursday 23rd March 2023 at the age of 71. The funeral arrangements for the late David Augustine Charles, also known as Cooks and Elliot, of Mamacan St. Andrew, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home.
Gracelyn Samuel, also known as Samuel, Nursey, and Graceau, of Black Bay St. John, passed away on Tuesday, 28 March, at the age of 60. The funeral arrangements of the late Gracelyn Samuel, also known as Samuel, Nursey, and Graceau, of Black Bay St. John, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home.
Lincoln Williams, also known as Boots and Linky, of Hermitage St. Patrick, who resided at Grand Arms St. George, passed away on Saturday 25th March 2023 at the age of 76. The funeral arrangements for the late Lincoln Williams, also known as Boots and Linky, of Hermitage St. Patrick, who resided at Grand Arms St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Magdalene Claire Charles, also known as Tanti Claire of Bellevue St. George, a well-known market vendor, died on Sunday 26th March 2023 at the age of 82. The funeral arrangements for the late Magdalene Claire Charles, also known as Tanti Claire, of Bellevue St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Carl Wilson of Springs, who resided at Point Celine St. George, proprietor of Point Celine Hotel or Fox Inn, passed away on Tuesday 21st March 2023 at the age of 77. The funeral arrangements for the late Carl Wilson of Springs, who resided at Point Celine St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home.
The management and staff of MTV extend deepest condolences to those of you whose loved ones have passed on. Thank you for watching.
When a loved one passes on, we all need the comfort, support, and guidance of a trusted friend. You can rely on LaCour Brothers Funeral Home. We provide a personalized professional service that exceeds all expectations. Our dedicated staff responds to your every need with the greatest detail, ensuring affordability with a variety of options. Our upgraded state-of-the-art facilities, spacious air-conditioned chapel with live internet streaming, a modern, environmentally safe crematorium, the only of its kind on island, private viewing spaces, large on-site repast center, a modern transportation fleet. Join our burial society today and make personalized arrangements for that final moment as you prepare to enter your loved one into eternal rest. Visit or call LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and select a package that brings added comfort to the entire family. LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and Burial Society, continuing a tradition of excellence.
Promoters, here is a chance to boost your event or fete with MTV